Stop doing these 11 things on Instagram if you want to grow. My name is Michelle Gifford. I'm a brand and marketing strategist. I help you grow your business and brand here. And I'm excited to get into this because Instagram has completely changed over the last even year, right? It just keeps changing. And there are some things that we used to be doing in the past that we should not be doing anymore. And we're going to get into it. Now, listen, if you want to grow on Instagram and beyond, then make sure you're subscribed. Let's just get into this. All right. Number one, the thing that you are not going to do anymore are engagement groups or pods. Now, what are engagement groups? Engagement groups are when you come together with like-minded people, maybe in your niche, and you all commit to commenting on each other's content in order to trick the algorithm to boost your content into other people's feeds. The reason why this is particularly damaging is you are spending a lot of time engaging on other people's content that are not your ideal audience, right? The only thing that's telling the algorithm is you want to see their content and other people like them. Instead of engaging with people who could actually be your customers or clients, it's better to spend your time there than to waste it on people who are not ever going to buy from you. The other thing is it's confusing the algorithm. The algorithm is trying to figure out what kind of people interact and engage with your content, what kind of content you create, who that attracts, and then it's going to show more of that content to that kind of people. Your engagement pod is not that person. They're not your ideal audience. They're in your niche serving maybe similar people as you, but they're not the people that you're actually looking for. And as we're creating content on Instagram and TikTok and wherever we're creating content, we better be creating for people who are actually going to be our clients, our customers, and people who care about our brand. Number two is posting square content. If you have noticed, Instagram has changed the orientation of our content. We can now post a bigger post. If we're posting a carousel or a picture, we're not going to do the square one anymore. And the reason why is we want more real estate, right? We want more land on Instagram. And so if we post the bigger dimensions, which is 1080 by 1350, then we are taking up more of the screen. And if you've noticed, Instagram, they do like to see the bigger content. So just don't post square anymore. You want to post bigger. The next is follow, unfollow. So I don't know if you were a part of this. If you were, it's okay. Just don't do it anymore. There used to be a tactic that you would go and you'd follow a bunch of people and you would like their content in hopes that they would like your content and follow you back. And once they followed you back, you would unfollow them. How mean is that? We don't do that anymore because our goal on any social media platform is to create relationships so that we can help and serve an audience that we actually can serve. And so if you are doing this to people, like, that's not very honest. That's not very kind. Just kidding. I don't like you anymore because you followed me. I don't want to follow you back. That's not super great, right? Think about what that looks like to an audience if you are following them and then unfollowing them. The next is cold calling and DMs. Now, I get this all the time and people telling me, I looked at your feed and now I have this great business opportunity for you. And I see this sometimes with network marketers and people are saying, send videos to people that you don't know. And that's a good conversion tool. And long-term, what you need to know, whether you're network marketing or not, you need to think about growing an actual business. And an actual business, yeah, you can get some sales with some cold calling, but the amount of cold calling you're going to have to do to get those sales is quite a bit. And it becomes like a complete numbers game. Oh, I have to cold DM 100 people and then 2 people will DM me back. What if instead you started spending your time creating and developing a brand people actually wanted to be a part of, wanted to use, wanted to share? That is going to be a million times more effective because you're building an actual business. You're building a brand around people who need your content and you are getting to know your audience and serving them in a really great way. Don't send those cold DMs. Build a relationship. And it has never been easier to build a relationship with people on Instagram because you can follow them, you can like and comment on their posts, you can DM them in their stories and start a DM conversation. Don't use this in a negative way where you're just trolling people and doing that follow unfollow kind of thing where you're tricking them into think that you really care about them and you're doing DMs and then you slip in a sale. No, you need to have real relationships with people. And that is the biggest thing that we are changing on Instagram. And Adam Mosseri came out and said that Instagram is going to be about relationships. And so if you are not building these real authentic relationships, you are going to get left behind because people, they don't respond to those cold DMs anymore. And if you do, it's probably 1 or 2 in 100. And that is a lot of time you're wasting instead of taking the time to build your brand and build your business around something very solid. The next thing we're going to leave behind is posting inconsistently. What I recommend is to create a content calendar that you can stick to. If it were me and I wanted to grow on Instagram, I would commit to posting every day. I know that can feel overwhelming, so maybe you only do 4 times a week, 5 times a week. But if you really want to grow, I have a whole video all about why why my posting strategy is what it is. But if you can post consistently every day, that is going to help you grow faster and better. But it really comes down to consistency. And I'm going to tell you that consistency is really the key to business. And it's one of the hardest things to master. But posting consistently is going to help you secure a relationship with your audience. You're going to be trustworthy, and you're also going to learn to create better content because you're showing up and creating content every day. The next one is, what is out is a perfect feed. Now, we used to post in our feed and it had to be perfectly curated. Everything had to be beautiful and everything had to fit and look aesthetically gorgeous, right? That is not the case anymore. Your feed does matter. There's some who will tell you that your feed doesn't matter at all. But if you are growing a business, you have to look at your Instagram feed as your resume, as your calling card. Because if someone hears about you, what do? They go to your Instagram feed and they look and see who you are. So we don't want to just post random content and not worry about our feed at all. No, we are professional. We are a business. And so we want to take pride in that, but it no longer has to be perfect. The easiest way to do this is maybe you just choose some carousel templates and you use those over and over again. So you create some kind of pattern. Or with your pictures or cover photos, use a template so that it's very clear that this is you. Another way is with your pictures, you edit in a consistent way. So that's not all over the map, but it's very consistent and it looks cohesive. So that's actually the word I would use. Our feeds don't have to be perfect anymore, but you should strive for cohesiveness so that your brand is actually recognizable when people come to your feed or see your content in their feed. Another thing that is out is not posting video. Now, video, I remember about 5 or 6 years ago that Mark Zuckerberg came out and predicted that video will be 80% of our feed in 4 or 5 years. And I believed him, but I was like, wow, there's going to be a lot of change between then in order to get to this point. And now we're at this point, and you'll notice that there's a lot more video. No one is going to make you do video, but the cool thing about video is it really builds a relationship so much faster than seeing a carousel post. Me and you being here together, you watching this video is going to build a relationship faster than you reading a blog that I wrote. It just is, because you see my intonation, you see my movement, you see my expression, you hear my voice, and that builds much more trust faster, and you're suddenly connected. So if you can get on video, it is how people like to consume. That's why TikTok is exploding, is people really love video. It's a lot more entertaining. And again, it builds that trust a lot faster. Plus, with Instagram specifically, Reels have its own algorithm, and that algorithm pushes your Reels to people who don't follow you. And if they see your content, they like it, then they will follow you. And it just helps your business grow. But you have to get on Reels and you have to post videos. Next is using hashtags as your overall search strategy. Listen, hashtags are phasing out. If you've noticed on Instagram, before you post, you can add topics to your content. So you can tell Instagram what your content's about. And this is going to come up in the next step, but they're also improving their SEO game. So hashtags are less of a strategy than ever before. And so I use hashtags, but I don't stress too much about them. I use them as another element of signaling to Instagram what my content is about so that it can put me in front of the right people. But don't stress too much about this. And that leads me to not using SEO in your strategy. Instagram is becoming a better and better search engine. And so what that means is it's getting better at understanding what your content is and then putting that content in front of people who actually want to see it, which is good for us if we use it correctly. The goal of Instagram is to keep people on the app, because if people are on the app, then Instagram makes more money, right? Through ads. So to do that, Instagram is trying to understand what kind of content that you create so it can put your content in front of people who want to see your type of content. So how do we help it out? We are going to put keywords or words that people would search for in our posts. We're going to put it in our caption. We're going to put it in our hashtags. We're going to put it in our alt text. And we're going to put these keywords everywhere we can. So it helps the algorithm understand what our content's about so it can put it in front of the people who want it. So using SEO is going to be huge going forward. Next is posting outside of your niche. This goes along with the SEO stuff because Instagram is trying to figure out what kind of content you create. And so we need to really focus in on our niche. Who are we serving and how do we specifically serve them? And if we can really narrow in on that and create consistent content around it with good SEO, then Instagram understands what kind of content we create. I know sometimes maybe you're like, I just want to throw in this video of me dancing or whatever. I don't know, whatever you like to do. And instead of posting that to your feed that might not really help the algorithm out, why don't you post it to your stories where your really core group of followers are and that show up all the time? And then next is not having an Instagram strategy. Instagram is awesome, and I like to use it for attracting people and nurturing my audience. But if I keep them on Instagram and I don't get them to my email list, then I am missing out on some major money. And if I don't understand how Instagram works in creating more leads for my products, then I'm missing out on money. And so you need to make Instagram not just a place where you're gaining followers, but a place where you're taking followers on a journey, and that journey involves your products. Now, if you want help knowing how to create a content strategy, we would love to have you in my coaching group, Insta Moneymakers, where I not only give you a content plan for every month and what to post and the audios that you can use to go with it, but also you get courses that help you do email and blogging and Pinterest and the other factors that you need to do in order to grow a business. And you get coaching from me and some really amazing guest speakers. So we would love to have you in Insta Moneymakers, and click the link below to join. So listen, Instagram changes all the time. It does. Those were the 11 things that we're going to leave behind this year in order to grow a better business on Instagram in the year to come. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you're subscribed, and we'll see you next time.